Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. Roughly calculating that the time of my own leave and the time of unloading the waste ship will be perfectly staggered, Xingchen feels a little sad. But life should go on and on. If you miss the day when the spaceship comes over, you will lose dozens of accessories, but there is no way for Stardust. The school can't ask for leave all the time. It takes a few days to ask for leave. If the school doesn't give you graduation, it will be troublesome. Otherwise, if you write something bad on your resume, your future employment will be affected. Although Xingchen doesn't care too much about his future employment now, after studying for so long, he naturally wants to have a happy ending. In the following days, Xingchen went to the black shop a few times again. After selling all the accessories brought over this time, Stardust already has 9,783 RAL in his pocket. With the money, Xingchen bought some energy bars to fully replenish the energy of Rhubarb. Recently, Rhubarb has been active and conscientious in his work, which has helped him earn a lot of money. This reward is still to be given. Of course, when Rhubarb's energy is replenished, it will eventually benefit itself, and the money is not wasted. With the money left in his pocket, apart from the daily spiritual meal expenses, Xingchen didn't spend any money on anything. As soon as you are a student, there are few things you need to buy. Secondly, the money is still very useful. The spaceship parts picked up in the waste area, it is actually impossible to collect all the parts of a spaceship. This is because the things on the spaceship have wearing parts and constant firmware. Some accessories are not easy to damage. Even if the spaceship is scrapped, those accessories can be recycled and reprocessed. Therefore, many parts of the scrapped spaceship sent by these scrap transport ships have actually been taken away. In other words, Stardust and the others are unlikely to find these accessories here. This requires buying from other sources. If you buy it, you can only spend money. Others do not accept barter. Taking the small spaceship that Stardust is currently saving, there are about 300 pieces in it that belong to this kind of accessories that can only be obtained with money. That's going to cost a fortune. These accessories are not as cheap as those sold by Stardust. If you have to make a comparison, about 3 accessories sold by Stardust can be exchanged for one such accessory. In other words, Stardust needs at least 1,000 pieces of spaceship accessories to buy the required accessories. Thinking of this, Xingchen felt so uncomfortable that he was going to die. There are only 70 or 80 items picked up in the waste area over there. It may take 6 or 7 months to collect more than 1,000 items. Forget about it. Anyway, although there are many, as long as there is enough time, there will always be enough. After 8 days passed, Xingchen took another day and a half off. Back to my own home. Back this time, Stardust brought 20 packs of common meals and 50 packs of water. Meals are used for composting, and I can't find enough plant waste here, so I can only use this thing to deal with it. The first thing Xingchen did when he got home was to look at the vegetables grown in the vegetable box. That green vegetable has been planted, and the seeds should be mature according to the time. But Xingchen still wants to see it with his own eyes, so he can rest assured. When entering the vegetable planting box, Xingchen saw 5 bunches of purple seeds at a glance. These are the seeds of green vegetables. These seed strings are made up of more than a dozen seed clips, each containing about 7 or 8 seeds. Calculated in this way, these 5 green vegetables produced nearly 500 seeds in total. But then Rhubarb directly reported the number of seeds in it. Rhubarb can be detected, it's only a small place, so it's easy to find out. A total of 547 seeds were formed in these 5 strings of seeds, but 116 of them were deformed or stunted. The complete ones that can be replanted have a total of 431 grains. In addition, although the 5 green vegetables have been planted, except for the strong stem in the center, some of the leaves around them have not turned yellow and dried up. If you pick these leaves now, they are still edible. Although the taste may be slightly worse. So what are you waiting for? Start collecting it now. Seeds are naturally good things, but those vegetable leaves are not bad either. Xingchen hasn't eaten vegetable leaves for a long time, let alone all kinds of stir-fried vegetables. Thinking about it makes me laugh. It's just that there are no such things here at all, so it's useless to think about it. Now I finally have some vegetable leaves. Naturally, I want to try it quickly. Vegetable seeds and leaves were harvested. Xingchen looked at the red eggplants on the side again. These 4 red eggplants are growing well. Although they are not 2 meters high, the overall plant is very strong. There is probably no problem with the result, it is just a matter of how much fruit they bear. It's time to find out. Now, Hula has some experience in growing vegetables, and it seems that the vegetables are getting better and better recently. It is worth commending and rewarding. This is not just talking about it. When Xingchen is going to go back to the black shop to sell goods, he will see if there are any mechanical parts that can be used by Walla, and replace a few for Walla. In this way, the movement of the clatter will be more flexible, and more and better vegetables can be grown. Yes, more dishes. This time, Xingchen has more than 400 seeds in his hands, so he naturally wants to plant a batch of vegetables properly. Xingchen thought about it. It would be very difficult to complete a spaceship just by picking up the parts from the waste area. Also very time-consuming. If there are these green vegetables as supplements, the speed of collection will naturally be greatly accelerated. But how much these vegetables can be sold for, I have to ask later. Stardust asked Huala to put the collected seeds under the light for a while. After about a day, the moisture in the seeds is low to a certain level, and then stored in the dark for another day. These seeds can soak in water and germinate. Of course, there are many seeds, and Stardust is not going to plant them all at once. Stardust's plan is to plant about 50 grains at a time, with an interval of 8 days, and then plant another 50 grains. In this way, after the vegetables grow, there will be a gap in the middle, leaving a time for selling vegetables. Otherwise, if you sell 400 green vegetables at once, there will be fewer people eating them and more vegetables. Then it can be sold at a higher price to be called hell. Of course, in addition to the 50 seeds planted in the first batch, Stardust selected 2 seeds from each of the 5 green vegetable seeds to keep the seeds full and in the best condition. These 10 seeds are used to grow new seeds. At that time, all kinds of water and fertilizer will be fully supplied, and the goal is to make them bear more and better seeds. After finishing her work on growing vegetables, Xingchen rested in peace after having dinner. This is home. Xingchen sleeps soundly. Day 3, another busy day. Stardust took all the younger brothers to the waste dump area. Of course, the newest area still doesn't have Stardust's territory, but Stardust went over to say hello, asked the acquaintances how many accessories that are compatible with the small spaceship, and then made an appointment to exchange them when they come next time. After discussing these matters, Xingchen took his younger brother to the storage area that he didn't occupy last time. Here, Stardust doesn't take up any land, and naturally, it hasn't dug up treasures. Now the scavengers are all in the new area, and no one here happens to pick up the leaks. As usual, Xingchen took rhubarb to explore the entire area, then marked the places that needed to be picked up to Dang Dang and Biliu, and then went to the side to serve as an observation post. This is the most important thing. When you come out to work, safety is the most important thing. Although there is rhubarb observing the surroundings, Stardust is useless as an observation post, but he is here to be idle. After a busy day, Stardust has harvested nearly 100 spaceship accessories. What a pleasant surprise. However, there are not many accessories for the small spaceship, only a dozen or so. Probably those scavengers knew that Stardust wanted accessories, so they focused on looking for small spaceship accessories, and there were not many left. In addition, only 30 kilograms of pure metal were harvested. Anyway, these are all for nothing, and Xingchen has no complaints. Back home, Xingchen arranged to grow vegetables, and then stuffed 100 unsuitable spaceship accessories into the rhubarb space, and sold them. It's not that he can't sell more, it's just that as a student, he sold too many accessories in a short period of time, and it would be bad if others became suspicious later on. Anyway, it will take time to buy other accessories after collecting the money, so Zingdust is not in a hurry to sell too many things. In addition, Xingchen asked Walla to reprocess a large vegetable growing box. The area before was not large enough. If you grow vegetables in large quantities, it must not be enough. This new vegetable growing box is about twice the size of the previous one, and the light source and everything are prepared. When I go home next time, it is time to plant vegetables in this new box. But the new box can't be used right now, because the sand and gravel I bought have long been used up. This time, after Zingdust returns to school, he has to buy some more. Fortunately, he has room for rhubarb now. Even if he buys more, he can still ship it back. Nothing to say all night, Of course, there is nothing to say. The house is full of robots, the kind that can work. I can still say a few words with just one rhubarb, but there is nothing new to say, and it would be boring to talk too much. Let's rest. Early the next morning, Xingchen took the commuter bus back to school. According to the school schedule, after eating the spiritual meal, various trainings began. At noon, Xingchen stuffed a dozen or so accessories in his bag and went to the previous black shop to sell things. The black shop here is still the same as last time. The bald boss Huff is idling inside. Speaking of which, most of the time, Stardust comes here at noon. There are not many people, and the boss always looks sleepy. Probably the main business hours of Heipu is at night. The boss, Huff, saw Zingdust coming, got up and walked to the counter. Xingchen put the bag on the counter and took out the accessories one by one. Anyway, there are only so many spaceship accessories. After they are all taken out, the boss starts to appraise the price. Waiting for the boss to pick up a box, he asked, "What is this?" "It's not an accessory." Stardust took a look. "Ah. Why did you take out the box containing the vegetable leaves?" Quickly said, "It's not an accessory, it's just a vegetable leaf that I eat myself." After talking, I want to put the box in the bag. But Huff said, "Don't be busy. Let me take a look." After talking about getting started, I opened the box. This box contains leaves cut from 5 seedling greens. The rest of the stalks and roots have been chopped up and composted. Stardust didn't care. There were less than 10 vegetable leaves in the box, and there were some vegetable leaves for him to add to his meals. Now that the boss saw it, he just asked him to estimate the price, and it will be a market in the future. I just don't know if Huff is interested in this thing. Huff opened the box, and saw the vegetable leaves inside at a glance. Although these vegetable leaves are cut from the plants, and the taste and appearance are not so good, but seeing the glow in front of Huff's eyes, he is quite interested in these vegetable leaves. Huff took out the vegetable leaves from the box and looked at them, then asked Xingchen, "This is not bad, just a few leaves?" Xingchen nodded, "That's all, I've already eaten some. Originally, these vegetable leaves were reserved for these 2 days. Huff said, "Don't, you have eaten a lot, sell these to me." It doesn't matter to Stardust. After planting large quantities, it will definitely be sold as vegetable leaves. Now it's just an early sell. But Huff wanted these leaves. How much did he want to pay? It's too little to sell, and it's meaningless. It's better to eat it yourself to satisfy your gluttony. So Xingchen asked Huff how much he was going to pay for it. Huff thought for a while and said, "The leaves of your vegetables are not too big, and they are a little wilted. They are of average quality. There are 9 leaves in total. I'll give you 150 rals. What do you think?" Stardust frowned. 9 tablets only cost 150 laras. Not much money. I thought these vegetable leaves were quite valuable. If it's only worth so much, it's better to add these to your own meals. So Xingchen said to Huff, "These are not worth selling if they only sell for 150 rals. I might as well eat them myself. Let's trade a few times, it's a good deal. I'll give you 2 vegetable leaves to eat. I'll save the rest for eating." Huff was a little anxious when he heard that. "Don't, you've eaten a lot, so just sell these to me." "How about this, I'll pay you 200 rals for 9 vegetable leaves." "That's a lot." After finishing speaking, Huff saw that Xingchen still didn't want to sell it, so he quickly said, "The quality of your vegetable leaves is not good. I can't sell them at a high price." How about this? I will give you another 20, a total of 220 rel, to buy these vegetables from you. Got it. Seeing that Huff wanted the vegetable leaves so much, Xingchen agreed to sell them. Firstly, I also ate some vegetable leaves to satisfy my hunger, and secondly, I still need to buy and sell spaceship accessories from him, so the relationship is not good if I hate it. Seeing that Xingchen agreed, Huff quickly put the vegetable leaves aside, as if he was afraid that Xingchen would regret it. Stardust was speechless for a moment. It's just some vegetable leaves. As for being so careful? Then the boss reevaluated those spaceship accessories. There are a total of 14 accessories in the bag. After reading all of them, Huff offered a price of 1,800 rels. Well, the price is better than usual. It must be that Huff is in a good mood now that he has Kai Yezi. Seeing that Xingchen didn't object to the price, Huff gave Xingchen a piece of money for accessories and vegetable leaves. After the transaction was completed, Xingchen wanted to leave. But at this moment, Huff told him not to rush away. Huff said, "Is there a way to get more of that vegetable leaf in the future? I will pay a high price." Xingchen Xian said, "What kind of high price is your price?" But after the green vegetables are grown in large quantities in the future, they will definitely have to find channels to sell them. It just so happens that the boss is very interested in this, so we can talk about it. So he said to Huff, "There is a way, these are brought by my classmate's grandpa's nephew's uncle's son from outside. I made some money selling accessories the other day, so I bought some to try. These leaves are of average quality, so the selling price is not high, so I am willing to eat them by myself. But what they usually sell is of good quality, you can't buy it at this price." As soon as Huff heard that there was a door, he immediately said, "The price is easy to talk about. As long as the quality is good, I will pay a high price." Xingchen pouted, thinking what a high price she would pay here. "Now that I have the know-how, is it okay for me to sell directly to restaurants and the like?" But Xingchen must not have access to restaurants and other outlets, and finding channels is also troublesome, since this Huff wants to do vegetable business so much. It is possible to cooperate with him, but the price has to be negotiated. Xingchen said to Huff, he has a way to deliver directly to the hotel restaurant. Although the quantity is not large, the price is very high. You must not be able to compete with him here. Huff said anxiously, "Talk to them, I can pay high prices here, and I can pay as much as the hotel offers. In short, you let them keep some goods for me and make money later. I'll give you a commission." Xingchen saw that he was so sincere, so he agreed to ask for help. It's not that Xingchen doesn't want to finalize this matter, it's mainly because he doesn't know the price standard for vegetable leaves at all. If the promise is made soon and the vegetable leaves are sold cheap, wouldn't that be a big loss? After talking about things, Xingchen went back to school to continue training. 2 days later, Xingchen came to Heipu to sell accessories again. The price Huff gave this time is also quite good. But when the goods were sold out, Huff stopped Stardust again. Why? This is a business with vegetable leaves in mind. But Stardust also has no clue about the selling price of the vegetable leaves. He had never eaten vegetables before. These things are only available to families with an advanced income here. Seeing that Huff was following this matter very closely, Xingchen could only find an excuse to say that the seller's price was too high, and the vegetable leaves in good condition cost 50 or 61 leaves, which was not worth buying. Huff frowned and said, "No way, those restaurants only buy goods from official channels for about 50 rels, and the ones that go outside are all less than 45 rels. The other party asks for such a high price, is it cheating you?" After hearing the price, Xingchen blinked and said to Huff, "I don't know either, those vegetable leaves are of defective quality. It happened to be processed, so it was cheap for me. This time I asked my classmate, he told me the price. I don't want me to find the owner of the goods through his relationship and ask?" After hearing this, Huff nodded quickly and said, "Hurry up and ask, there are quite a lot of people who want this thing, and if you have it, you can make money." Xingchen agreed, and Huff let him go. Coming out of the black shop, this time Xingchen didn't go straight back to school. Instead, I went to the pavement where I bought sand and gravel before, and bought a large bag of sand and gravel. It's not that I don't want to buy more, but this thing is too heavy to carry much on a hoverboard, so Shinchan plans to buy it several times, bring it to the dormitory and put it in the space of rhubarb. As for Huff urging him to ask a question, he asked a woolen thread. The owner of the goods is himself. Those vegetables have just been planted, and the leaves may not have grown yet. If you want to sell the next batch of vegetable leaves, you may have to wait for 20 or 30 days. This time Stardust got the market price of the vegetable leaves from Huff, although this may not be accurate. But the difference shouldn't be that big. It seems that the next time the green vegetables are planted, the price can be set at 40 lar apiece. Counting down, one green vegetable has about 10 leaves. One can sell for 400 rals. A batch of goods came out to be 50. A lot of money. Ha ha ha. Thinking of the future income, Shinchan was in such a good mood that he didn't even feel the gravel on his back was heavy. In the next few days, Shinchan went to the black shop to sell accessories several times. Huff asked about the progress of Kaiyi again. Shinchan had no choice but to say that the goods are available, but the owner of the goods can't bring too much goods at one time. If they want it here, others have to rearrange the matter of bringing the goods. There is no rush. After Huff heard this, he could only ask Shinchan to help him keep an eye on this matter. This is a long-term business, and he can earn a lot of money throughout the year. Stardust can only respond. There must be no progress in this matter before his vegetables grow out. Let Huff wait first. Now it's time for Shinchan to ask for leave and go home again. The last 2 leave of absence caused the instructor to have a little opinion on Shinchan. Others are training hard at this time, and don't want to delay for a moment. This Stardust is good, there are only 30 days in a month, and he asks for leave once every 8 days. What kind of place do you think the school is? It's just that Shinchan doesn't want to ask for leave, but he only needs to take care of the vegetables at home, so he might not be able to find out in time if something goes wrong. And the water needed for vegetables can only be bought from school and brought home. Without water, those vegetables will turn yellow. It's just that these things can't be discussed with the instructor, so Shinchan can only say that the housework needs to be done, otherwise the usual living expenses will be gone. This instructor is kind-hearted. After listening to Shinchan's explanation, he wants to help Shinchan apply for a bursary or something. However, Stardust now earns tens of thousands of lars a month, and the school doesn't care about the little money at all. In the end, Shinchan took a leave of absence as he wished. However, the instructor might not have any hope for Shinchan. Stardust returned home by commuter car. This time when he went home, he brought back 50 bags of water, and 3 more bags of gravel. There are not many accessories for the small spaceship this time, only 8 pieces. That black shop doesn't have much stock in this area. If Shinchan wanted to buy spaceship accessories in the future, he would probably have to go to an accessory store to order them, and the prices there might be several times higher, so in the final analysis, you still need money. When he got home, the first thing Shinchan did was to check on those vegetables. The red tomato fruit in the vegetable box has grown taller again, and it still looks so vigorous. 2 batches of green vegetables have been planted next to it, and the first batch of vegetable seedlings has already grown its 3rd leaf, but they are all finger-sized leaves, so they cannot be sold. Only a few of the green vegetable seeds planted in the 2nd batch will stick out the buds on the surface of the gravel, and it may take 2 days for a large number of sprouts to sprout. The situation is not bad. According to this progress, the first batch of green vegetables will be shipped in about 25 days. At that time, although the growth is not too big, it can be sold for money. Of course, the strongest and most prosperous time for these vegetables should be about 32 days, so let's see the situation while selling them. There was no problem with his precious vegetables, so Shinchan ate and slept with peace of mind. The next day, I still took my younger brother to the waste dump area. Stardust's luck is better this time, and this day happens to be the day when the transport spacecraft comes over. Stardust finally waited for a day to occupy the territory. When those spaceships were unloaded, Xingchen and his group of scavengers rushed towards the storage area again. Although Stardust was not the fastest runner, with the help of De Huang, he still found an area with the most dense spaceship parts. After more than half a day of busy work, Xingchen has more than 100 pieces of spaceship accessories in his hand, and there are also 21 pieces of accessories suitable for small spaceships. The harvest this time is the best one in recent times. Of course, more than 200 kilograms of pure metal were collected. After collecting these accessories and metals, Stardust took the hover car to a few familiar scavengers. Stardust made an appointment with them before, and today he exchanged accessories with them. Recently, these acquaintances have saved hundreds of accessories that Xingchen can use. This time Xingchen wants to change them all at once. After several rounds of exchanges, Xingdu exchanged a total of 129 accessories for small spaceships with the accessories he brought from home and those he found just now. During the exchange process, Stardust produced more accessories and exchanged less, which was a bit of a disadvantage, but who made him need other people's things. After changing things, Xingchen took his younger brother to the storage area last time. He hadn't collected them here either. Although it was an area where others had picked them up, there were still good things. After working for more than 3 hours, Xingchen found another 50 accessories and more than 30 kilograms of pure metal. Now I can finally go home. During the whole day, Xingdust brought back 161 accessories suitable for small spaceships, and more than 80 other accessories. More than 120 kilograms of pure metal were brought back, and the rest were exchanged as extras when exchanging things. Stardust sent the accessories suitable for the small spaceship to that warehouse for arrangement. Other things are still placed in the original warehouse. This day's work is over. After a day of tossing around, Xingchen arranged the work of the younger brothers and went to rest early. The next day is still school. After arriving at the school, Xingchen began to practice strictly according to the instructor's training items one by one. He will take a few days off this month. If he wants to keep up with others, he has to work harder than others. To say that Stardust's indicators are already close to the 8th level of the human level, although it has not yet reached the 8th level, but it is not far away. But Xingchen also discovered one thing, that is, the effect of the spiritual meal is weakening. It turned out that when Stardust first ate the spiritual meal, his attributes rose very quickly. But after eating for a while, the rise of these attributes is not so fast. This made Xingchen a little puzzled. Did he eat a fake spiritual meal recently? With this question in mind, Xingchen went to the instructor for advice. After listening to Xingchen's question, the instructor asked about Xingchen's previous cultivation situation. This answered his question. The spiritual meal is not omnipotent. To be honest, the spiritual power contained in the spiritual meal is actually very rare. Stardust had a better effect on eating spiritual meals before, because he had never eaten before, and his body relied on the energy of common food to strengthen itself. After eating the spiritual meal, the energy and spiritual energy needed by the body were all satisfied, so naturally it was greatly enhanced. But the spiritual energy content of the spiritual meal is small, and after reaching the 8th level, the body needs more spiritual energy. With these rare spiritual energy, it will take a long time to accumulate enough energy to upgrade. After listening to the instructor's words, Xingchen finally understood. The reason still lies in the lack of spiritual energy contained in the spiritual meal. Maybe the spiritual meal eaten by those high-level people on the planet is better, but Xingchen, a guy with a flat head, can't eat it. If you want to upgrade now, you can only endure it slowly. Originally, Xingchen thought about going up to 1 level in a month. Maybe in 3 months' time he would be able to reach the Earth level. Now it seems that I am still too naive. There are also many other students from good families who eat spiritual meals every day, so they stop at the 8th and 9th human level. I have just eaten a spiritual meal for less than a month, and I am thinking of overtaking on a curve to catch up with my classmates' progress. How naive. Knowing that promotion is not so easy, Xingchen can only calm down and practice hard. Not only did Xingchen double the completion of the usual strengthening project, But even the various skills taught by the instructor every day, Xingchen also practiced and practiced. If there is no dueling practice, he just practiced by himself. After practicing for a few more days, the rest day came. Usually, Xingchen thinks about asking for leave to go back and look at his vegetables. On this day of school break, he naturally wants to go back and have a look. Going home this time, Stardust returned with 50 bags of water and 20 servings of common food. Of course, the spiritual meal also brought 6 servings. Usually, Xingchen buys so much water, the food sellers in the school look at Xingchen like they are drinking water monsters. Why? In the future, we can no longer just go to a restaurant to buy water. Back home, Xingchen was still the same as usual, and immediately went to look at the vegetable growing box. This time the new vegetable box has also been activated, and 2 crops of vegetables have been planted in it. The sprouts of the first crop have almost sprouted, and the second crop has just been planted on the first day, so there will be no response. In the other vegetable growing box, the green vegetables in the last 2 batches have begun to grow leaves. It seems to be growing well. But Xingchen looked at the compost box, and there was not much fertilizer in it. It happened that I brought a lot of common food this time, so Stardust put a few servings of food into the compost bin, and added an extra serving of water. That's it with the lid on. The green vegetables are growing well, but the red eggplant fruit seems to be a bit too vigorous. According to Xingchen's information on rhubarb, the growth of red eggplant fruit is too vigorous, and it needs to be topped to curb the prosperity. It is to remove the buds on the top of the plant so that it does not grow too high, bloom when it should bloom, bear fruit when it should bear fruit, and don't do other things. In addition, red eggplant fruit is not the same as green vegetables. After it blooms, it will help pollination. Xingchen found materials and tied a small pollination pen. The front of this pen is fluff-like. When the time comes, he can hold it and cross-match the red eggplant fruit. Xingchen explained this matter to Walla, and when the red eggplants bloomed, he asked Biliu to help pollinate them. The work on this kind of food is considered to be over, and the water and food brought back, Stardust has been put into the food box. There is no rush for spaceship accessories. I have to go out to search for accessories and metals these days, and when I save more, I will take them to the small spaceship. Have a good night's rest. Xingchen got up early and took his little brothers out the door again. This time, he still didn't catch up with the spaceship, but counting the days, the next time the spaceship will be unloaded is only 2 days away, so Stardust is not in a hurry. After saying hello to the acquaintances in the storage area, Xingchen took the younger brothers to the previous picking area again. Anyway, many places have not been explored yet, and there are always some useful accessories that have not been picked up by others. Stardust has been busy for 2 days like this, but the harvest is only average. Stardust made more than 50 pieces of spaceship accessories, but only 8 pieces are used on the small spaceship. The metal is also pitiful. Fortunately, on the 3rd day, the transport spaceship came again. When Xingchen got the news, he came early and waited beside the others. After waiting for more than half an hour, the transport spaceship finally flew away, and Xingchen and others began to occupy the territory together. But this time, Stardust's luck is not very good. In the entire new storage area, there are not many spaceship accessories that can be used, and even fewer are suitable for small spaceships. This is also impossible. No one can decide what will come out of this waste area. It's all about luck. Seeing this, Xingchen could only find an area with the best accessories to occupy it. After half a day of collecting by the little brothers, Xingchen has more than 30 spaceship accessories in his hand, and only 4 pieces are used in the small spaceship. There are more than 300 kilograms of pure metal. But now Stardust is not so interested in selling metal for money. It takes too long to assemble this thing. It is better to make spaceship accessories. But this is also because Xingchen has to go to school, so he is not here most of the time. Otherwise, the pure metal on hand would accumulate quickly. After collecting the newly occupied territory, Xingchen took the younger brothers to several areas that had not been explored before. These places have been stacked for a long time, but there are still some benefits. After a day of collecting, Xingchen only got more than 70 accessories, and less than 10 pieces can be used on the small spaceship. This time the luck was much worse. There was no other way, Xingchen had no choice but to go back to school. This accessory was not easy to collect, and if he went to the old area to look for it, the gain would not be great. So Xingdust might as well go back to school and train hard. Of course, the accessories that should be stuffed into the rhubarb space are still fortified. Hundreds of spaceship accessories, if sold, will be a big income, and the money will be used to buy things later. After arriving at school, Xingchen rushed to Huff's black shop in noontime. Every time Huff asked about the progress of the vegetable business, Xingchen really didn't want to go to his shop. However, other black shops don't accept these accessories very much, and Xingchen bites the bullet and goes in every time. This time Huff asked as usual how things were going with the vegetables. This time, Xingchen gave him a promise, and in about 15 to 20 days, he will be able to bring him a batch of vegetables. This made Huff happy. Even the price of the spaceship accessories brought by Xingchen is a bit high. After the transaction was completed, Stardust bought some suitable small spaceship accessories from Huff. In addition, Xingchen also wants to buy some robot accessories that can be used. But Huff is not suitable here. Stardust can only do it. In the next few days, Xingchen went to Huff's store every other day to sell some accessories. Every time I go there, I sell a dozen or 20 items, which enriches Xingchen's pocket even more. But Huff doesn't have any accessories that can be used. This is a troublesome matter. After all, Huala is a great contributor to growing vegetables, and Xingchen feels very sorry for not replacing the unsuitable body parts for Huala. So at noon that day, Stardust didn't go to Huff's shop, but flew towards Gillen's black shop again. Gillender was dozing off behind the counter this time. It seems that the gang of black shop bosses have a work and rest time. Entering the shop, Xingchen put the backpack on the counter. Gillen stood up and opened Stardust's backpack to look at the goods. This time, Gillen didn't say that there are too many accessories and he doesn't want to accept them. Instead, he saw this batch of spaceship accessories and gave them a good price. Stardust made a calculation, and the price Gillen offered was about the same as the price Huff is offering now. So I nodded and agreed to sell it. But today, Xingchen sells goods just by the way. I came to Gilland mainly to buy some accessories that can be used on Hula. Of course, if Gillender has accessories suitable for small spaceships, Stardust is also needed. Stardust and Gilland talked about the model of the goods they want. Gilland thought for a while, and found a few accessories, which are suitable for Walla, but there are not all of them. Xingchen accepted these few accessories. It would be nice to be able to buy some accessories. Let's look for some more. In addition, Gilland also found 5 accessories that are suitable for the small spaceship. In the end, Gilland settled the accounts, minus the accessories that Stardust took, and gave Stardust a total of 570 rals. Stardust took the money from Gillender, and before leaving, he asked him to help find some more suitable accessories for the small spaceship. Gilland agreed, and this is what he was supposed to eat. If there is a business to do, of course he agreed. Stardust went out of the black shop, but went back to school to continue training. Although the progress has not been that great recently, but the strength is still gradually increasing. When Stardust plans to stop increasing his strength, he will try his best to collect the accessories on the spaceship, and save the spaceship to go to the alien world. Just like that, another 8 days passed, and Xingchen went to ask for leave again. The instructor has already let him go, so it is very convenient to ask for this leave. This time when Xingchen came home again, he didn't catch up with the waste transport ship, but now Xingchen is also following fate. If he catches up, he can pick up the leaks. If he can't catch up, he can go to other areas to pick up some good things. The vegetables at home are growing very well. The red eggplants have already bloomed and are ready to bear fruit, but the fruit can only vaguely see the embryonic form. It may take a month before it really grows up. The green vegetables are growing very prosperous. The leaves of the first batch of 50 green vegetables have grown so big. Looking at the posture, it will be harvested in less than 20 days. Stardust handed the 60 servings of water in the bag to Walla, and let him put it in the locker. Then Xingchen took out the accessories bought for Walla from Dahuang's space. Xingchen doesn't need to do it himself to change the accessories for Walla, as both Chilio and Dang Dang beside him have this skill. And the efficiency of changing things is higher. In about 10 minutes, the new accessories of Hula have been replaced. Now there is no such noise when I walk around again. At most there are some small noises. But Xingchen didn't change the name of Walla, he was used to the name, and he had to get used to it again, there was no need for that. The next day, Xingchen took his younger brothers to the waste dump area again. This time, Xingchen didn't catch up with the day when the spaceship came over, so he had to go to the last area to check again. There were very few spaceship accessories in the area last time. Although there were more pure metals, Stardust was not very interested. In this way, Stardust had been busy for a whole day, and besides the last area, he found some other areas, and only 43 spaceship accessories were harvested. There are no more than 5 pieces that can be used on a small spaceship. However, more than 200 kilograms of pure metal were found. Now Xingchen is used to this kind of life, of course, it would be even better if he could catch up with the junk spaceship all the time. This kind of life has passed for another 10 days, and the middle of the Stardust has returned again. But still not much gain. When returning home for the 3rd time, Xingchen postponed it by 2 days, so it was just in time for the day when the vegetables were ripe and ready to sell. After returning home, Xingchen went to check on the vegetables first. On the side of green vegetables, the first batch of green vegetables planted have fully grown and bloomed. These 50 green vegetables are packed to the brim in that small area. This will affect the growth of the vegetables a bit, but the conditions here in Xingchen are like this, so we can only plant them like this first. But the greens have grown, and Xingchen didn't directly harvest them. Today is just an afternoon of leave, and it will not be too late for Walla to harvest the vegetables the next morning. In this way, the vegetables can last for more than 1 day, and the vegetables will be harvested later, and the vegetables will be fresher when they are sold. In addition, the red eggplant fruit has already grown into fruit, and the fruit has grown quite big. Xingchen doesn't know how big this kind of fruit can grow. However, according to Rhubarb's information, this kind of red eggplant has different varieties and different sizes. Some are as small as a child's fist, and some are as big as a wrist. Because the seeds of Xingchen were picked up and thrown by others, so he doesn't know what kind of these things can grow and how big they are. Anyway, no one is rushing to ask for it, so just wait and see. The next day, Xingchen went to the waste dump area to sign in as usual. Stardust's luck was pretty good this time, and he waited until the transport ship unloaded again. It's still the old rule, after unloading the goods, everyone ran to occupy the land. Stardust takes up another area rich in accessories. By the afternoon, all the benefits in the site occupied by Stardust had been collected, and Stardust went to the unloading place of the Shangbo waste spaceship. Stardust is busy again here. It's Xingchen's younger brother who is busy. When returning home, Stardust counts the harvest. A total of 141 spaceship accessories were collected today, 35 of which are common to small spaceships. More than 270 kilograms of pure metal. Good luck. Xingchen put these accessories in order, and then stuffed 100 or so unsuitable accessories into Rhubarb's space. These are for export. After dinner in the evening, Xingchen arranged for Hua La to put away the green vegetables before he got up. In this way, when he went to school, he could just put the green vegetables in the space, saving time wasting. Wow, of course, is very reliable. On the morning of school, when Xingchen woke up, he saw a pile of green vegetables beside the bed. It was probably just watered, and there were still a few drops of water on the leaves of some vegetables. That's good, these vegetables are fresh enough, and they can be sold at a good price when the time comes. Xingchen found a few boxes to pack the vegetables and put them in the Rhubarb space. Then, as usual, I went to the commuter station in the suspension car driven by Dang Dang. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. Sitting in the commuter car, Stardust went all the way back to school. Although there are dozens of green vegetables on his body, it is still early, and the school classes still have to be attended, and those training items must be completed. This can be related to the growth of one's own strength. By noon, those prescribed training items were all completed. Stardust went to Huff's black shop on a skateboard. Huff is still dozing off like that. It's just that when he saw Shinchan entering the door, Huff suddenly became energetic. Seeing him like this, Shinchan didn't bother to put the backpack on the counter. Huff anxiously opened the backpack, which contained several spaceship accessories, but there was still a big box in the backpack. Huff opened the box, and there were leaves of green vegetables inside. Shinchan cut off the leaves of the vegetables in the dormitory. There are 5 green vegetables stuffed in this box, a total of 47 vegetable leaves. In addition, there are 5 choice ums. The cabbage heart is very small, only wrapped in 3 or 2 small leaves. But pick up the taste, the cabbage heart is better than those vegetable leaves. Therefore, although the choice is small, it can also be sold as a vegetable leaf. Sometimes the selling price is even higher. Huff ordered the quantity of these vegetable leaves. Then asked Stardust what the prices are. Shinchan said, I get 40 rals apiece when I get the goods from the owner. I must make some money here. Like this, 45 rals apiece. How about it? Huff was a little unhappy. Your 45 rals apiece is a bit high. I will only ship a few more rals. You ask for too much, and I can't sell it here. Let's do it, 42 rals apiece. Stardust was speechless, and could only haggle with Huff for a while, and finally the price of the vegetable leaf was set at 43 rals. In this way, the vegetable leaves and cabbage hearts brought by Stardust this time sold for a total of 2,236 rals, and the spaceship accessories sold for 420 rals. Huff ordered 2650 ral and gave it to Stardust. Fragments of a few rals erased. Now that Shinchan has money in his pocket, he doesn't care about a few small money from Lal. Huff collected the vegetable leaves, and then asked Shinchan how long it would take to bring them back. Stardust will be in stock soon, but you can't tell others about Dahuang's space. So Shinchan told Huff that if he wants the goods, he can get them tomorrow, just in case you can't sell them here. Huff was a little excited when he heard it, and even said that he was not afraid, that even if you brought over several times more of these vegetable leaves, he could sell them here. In this case, I can bring more tomorrow. Shinchan and Huff made an appointment. Tomorrow is still this time, Shinchan will bring more goods over. Then Stardust went back to school. This time the transaction is completed, Shinchan is relieved. It was just an idea to grow vegetables and sell them for money before, but today they really sold for more than $2,000. In addition, there are more than 40 green vegetables waiting to be sold. Now the money for buying spaceship accessories can be saved in my hands continuously. Although the entire small spaceship was saved up, the parts that need to be purchased may cost 2 to 300,000 yuan, but with the earning machine Qing Kai, it only takes 3 or 4 months to buy all the parts needed. In the next few days, Shinchan took 7 or 8 green vegetable leaves and hearts to sell to Huff every day, sometimes more and sometimes less. The price was 43 lar a slice that was set the day before. In this way, by the time these batches of vegetable leaves are sold, Shinchan will have an extra 20,000 lal in his hands. Including the money saved before, Shinchan has already saved nearly 40,000 rals. This number is naturally a little rich among students, but it is still far from a large number of spaceship accessories. The goods in Shinchan's hands are sold out, but a new batch of vegetables in the house should also grow. As soon as the agreed time came, Shinchan went to the instructor to ask for leave again. When Xingdust returns home, the house is still the same. Hula grows vegetables very well. Now there are 5 batches of vegetables growing in the vegetable box, and 1 batch is ready to be harvested. In addition, the gap left by the last harvest, Hula has replanted the seeds. This will have sprouted. However, Stardust doesn't go home until about 8 days apart, and the vegetables are grown only 5 days apart, which is a little bit wrong. Stardust told Hula to plant vegetables in batches of 8 days. In this way, the mature green vegetables will not grow old because they did not come back in time. After cooking, it's still the same old way. Xingchen went to the storage area to pick up leeks the next day. This time, Stardust didn't catch up with the day when the spaceship came over again, but where the last batch of spaceships unloaded, Stardust gained a lot. At the end of the day, more than 70 accessories were available again. In this way, there are almost 600 or 700 unsuitable accessories in Xingchen's hands. He also often sells them in black shops, but the quantity he sells cannot keep up with the quantity picked up here, so he accumulates more and more. This is also something that can't be helped. There is a saturation in every market. If the quantity sold is too large, the recipient will either offer a lower price, or simply refuse to accept it. From this point of view, the cash cow of Qing Kai is more reliable. Back at school, Xingchen began to deliver vegetables to Huff's every day again. Every time you give it away, there will be an income of 2,000 or 3,000 rals. With this money saved up, Stardust began to place an order for Huff, which was to buy the accessories that can be used on the small spaceship. Stardust made a list, which contains the spare parts that he needs to purchase. This is a long-term offer. Huff has a certain relationship here, and he can find goods from everywhere. In addition, Xingchen also went to Gillen's side. In addition to selling more than a dozen spaceship accessories, Xingchen also placed an order here. By the time these batches of vegetables were sold out, Xingchen had already saved more than $60,000. Xingchen now eats spiritual meals twice a day, and has money in his hand, so it's not bad at all. The money was saved, but the accessories they wanted to buy were not received much. Huff only found a dozen or so. There are even fewer in Gilead, only 7. But this is not something that can be done in a hurry. Stardust had to take his time. On the day when he could ask for leave, Xingchen returned home. The third batch of green vegetables in the house has grown very big, and I am afraid that they will grow old if they don't harvest them. Xingchen was a little helpless. He didn't think about it when he was growing vegetables. The vegetables grew too fast, and he couldn't sell them in a hurry. This time, Xingchen didn't wait to collect the food when he returned to school, but asked Hua to collect the food directly. This dish will grow for another day. I am afraid that the taste will become worse. I can only accept it first. Now every time Stardust comes back, he has to bring back dozens of portions of water, otherwise the vegetables will wilt due to lack of watering. Early the next morning, Xingchen went to the waste dump area to get some sleep. But this time there was still no transport ship. Stardust had no choice but to go to the previous area to pick up things, but the results were mediocre. So Stardust went home early. After packing up my things, I took this afternoon commuter bus back to school. No way, staying at home is meaningless. Why not come here earlier to sell vegetables? Recently, the harvest of spaceship accessories has been mediocre. Although the vegetables were sold and made a lot of money, the completion date of the small spaceship is far away. Back at school, Xingchen went to Huff's shop to deliver food at noon. After all the vegetables and spaceship accessories in the bag are sold, Stardust is preparing to leave. Huff stopped him. Xingchen, there is a small auction this afternoon, are you going? In this auction, there is a small spaceship in the ship repair yard that has been stored for a long time. Although it is a scrap spaceship, there should be many parts in it that can be recycled. I made use of it. Haven't you been collecting accessories for small spaceships? Go together this time, you can share with us, and then you will get a lot of discounts if you want accessories. Xingchen thought, is there such a thing? If you get a small spaceship back, you can make hundreds or thousands of accessories at a time, which is also a good deal. I just don't know if it's reliable or not. Is there such an auction? I haven't heard of it before. What's the situation with this small spaceship? What's the quality of the accessories inside? There are quite a few black auctions like this, but our black shop owners are the ones who participated more. There are also many auctions of scrapped spaceships. Some recycled more parts, and some recycled less. It depends on your luck. but it's all blind shots. Blind auction? You don't know the situation inside the spaceship, so you dare to bid? This kind of scrapped spaceship generally has a lot of parts that can be recycled. How much you can earn depends on your luck. This time, if you want to go, you can be counted as one. When the time comes, we will see the situation and then shoot. Okay, what time is it? I'll ask for a vacation. Stardust and Huff made an appointment to meet, and then they went back to school. It was almost dark for this auction, so Shinchan went back to school first, trained for a few hours, and then left the school with a bag on his back. Then step on the hoverboard and fly towards the appointed place. Huff didn't say the address of Black Auction, he just made an appointment to meet at a place. There is a relatively chaotic place on the 3rd floor, and Stardust flew over there carefully all the way. Even though it's still dark and those bastards who come out at night haven't gone out yet, it's better to be careful. When we got there, it was the back door of a shop. Huff and 2 other boss-like people are already waiting there. When Huff saw Shinchan coming, he just said hello, saying that he would wait for another person, and then go over. Stardust is just like these 3, waiting in the dark alley. Not long after, another boss came over. Huff greeted, and the 5 of them walked towards the end of the alley together. After walking for more than 10 minutes, the 5 people came to a large metal door, which seemed to be the back door of a large warehouse. Huff seemed to be familiar with the gatekeeper, so he went in after saying hello. Stardust naturally entered the door together. Inside the door is a relatively large warehouse, and more than 30 people are already waiting. There are several other doors in this warehouse, and people come in through these doors from time to time. By the time the filming started, more than 80 people had already entered the warehouse. Shinchan felt a little strange. Does the black shop make so much money? How could there be so many black shop owners? It's a pity that these people are standing in a pile, and no one talks to anyone. Otherwise, Shinchan would really like to ask some of them for a business card, so as to find more outlets for his spaceship accessories. However, there was an acquaintance of Shinchan among these people, that Gilland was standing among the small group of people. Gilland also saw Stardust when he came in, but he didn't say anything, he just nodded his head from a distance as a greeting. This auction was not a time for chatting, so Shinchan nodded and didn't come forward to speak. After the auction started, there was no opening ceremony or anything like that, just a fat man walked up to a table beside him, picked up something handed over by the person next to him, and then yelled something, "Who wants it?" and the auction started up. This is a black auction, so it doesn't matter what. Shinchan has no interest in studying the rules here, and his attention is all on the spaceship accessories. The items sold in the auction here are relatively miscellaneous, such as clothes, various tools, various accessories, and even vegetables. However, the auction here is red eggplant fruit, and there is a box full of more than 10 red eggplant fruits. This box of things triggered several waves of boss auctions. The final price is 4,700 per box, which is equivalent to 300 $300 per fruit. Calculated in this way, the few red eggplant fruits that Shinchan planted by himself only produced 4 boxes of fruit, which can be sold for 17,000 or 8,000. It seems that there are quite a lot, but the growth cycle of this red eggplant fruit is too long. In the same place, if you grow vegetables, you can harvest 2 waves. If you sell it, it may be more than red eggplant fruit. However, this kind of red eggplant fruit looks a bit like a fruit, and it will be good to satisfy your cravings by then. The items sold at the auction are almost done, and it's time to sell the small spaceship. A large suspended vehicle flew in from a gate next to it, with a small spaceship on it. There's a lot of dust on this little spaceship. It looks very old. Many of the people present were pointing fingers at the spaceship, and it seemed that they were more interested in this thing. Huff led a few people to squeeze in the direction of the spaceship, but there were a lot of people present, and many people wanted to take a closer look at the spaceship, so Huff didn't push forward. But it doesn't matter if you can't get to the front. The hull of this spaceship has a few twisted and deformed places, but they haven't broken open, so everyone can't see what's going on inside. So the auction of this spaceship will really only be a blind auction. Huff turned his head and said to Xingchen, "Look, I'm not wrong, this spaceship is quite good, and there should be many accessories inside that can be used. It will definitely be profitable to take photos." Xingchen frowned when he heard this. Now he has asked De Huang to check the spaceship. Others may be shooting blindly, but he is very clear about the situation of this spaceship. There is nothing wrong with the appearance of this spaceship, but the internal situation is not optimistic. Generally scrapped spaceships, at least the various internal facilities are complete. Although they are all old things, the minimum number is enough, but the appearance of this small spaceship is somewhat deformed at most, but more than half of the internal accessories are missing. Even the most important power engine has been dismantled, and some important parts are gone. The remaining accessories are some easy-to-find accessories, not so valuable. If this thing is auctioned blindly, if the price is high, whoever gets the auction will lose money. A few minutes after the spaceship arrived, the auction began. Anyway, it was blind shooting, so there was no time for everyone to come forward to see the goods. There is no starting price for this one, just start with a word, and everyone will step forward and call out their bids. Xingchen originally thought that if the price was low, he would also go up and join in. But as soon as the price was called, it jumped to more than 100,000. This made Zingdust shake his head. There are only 300 to 400 parts in the small spaceship that can be recycled and reused, and most of them are not very valuable. If you really want to sell it, it will cost 7,000 to 80,000 at most. But the quotation for this meeting is already more than 100,000 yuan. Seeing that Huff was still reaching out to bid, Xingchen quickly gave him a hand. Huff looked back puzzled, and Xingchen quickly said, "This spaceship may not be worth that much money. I have seen many in the scrap area. I feel that there are not many parts that can be recycled for such a spaceship. Don't bid." Huff hadn't spoken yet, and a boss who came next to him said angrily, "You little guy, what are you talking about? We have photographed a lot. I haven't heard of anyone who can feel anything. If you don't want to shoot, just go, don't waste your time here." Huff also said, "This thing depends on luck, it's a matter of earning more and less. It will cost you a lot of effort and money to shoot it. If you don't want to take a stake in Stardust, it won't be yours. Just don't regret it when the time comes." Xingchen couldn't, and he couldn't tell about rhubarb, so he couldn't say that he knew what was going on in the spaceship. This meeting can only shut up and not speak. At this time, Xingchen heard someone asking him something, turned around and saw that Gillinder was standing next to him. Just now, Xingchen didn't understand what Gilland asked, so Gilland had to ask it again. It turned out that Gilland asked Xingchen what he meant when he said that he didn't feel good. Xingchen thought that although this Gillinder did not come with him, after all, he had collected a lot of goods from him, so he was considered his own, so he said what he said just now. "But I didn't say that it was discovered by De Huang's investigation, but that I saw too many scrapped spaceships in the scrap area, and such ones often didn't produce many parts, so I didn't want to participate in the auction." Gilland hesitated for a while, and didn't continue to shoot. Seeing that he didn't continue to shoot, those people in Gerland's group didn't say much. It seems that Gerland followed suit. But Huff didn't stop, and kept raising the price. In the end, this small spaceship was bought by Huff at a price of 320,000 rals. Why? This Huff is rushing to lose money. All the money earned from this vegetable was probably spent on it. But Xingchen can't help it, it's hard to persuade a dying ghost. Huff won't believe in losing money until all the accessories are removed. After the spaceship is auctioned off, this auction is over. Those who can take pictures usually go to pay for the goods. If I didn't shoot anything, I've already started to go out. Huff and his gang are busy handing over the spaceship right now. Xingchen didn't want to stay here, so he had to say hello and go out by himself. At the door, Stardust just ran into Gillinder and his gang. When Gilland saw Xingchen coming out alone, he called Xingchen to go with him. Xingchen thanked him, and walked back with Gillinder and the others. Until passing through a passage to the upper floor, Xingchen bid farewell to Gilland and went back to school by himself. At noon the next day, Xingchen took the vegetable leaves to Huff's black shop to deliver the goods. When I entered the door, I saw Huff sitting behind the counter with his head downcast. When he saw Shinchan, he was also weak in greeting him. Stardust was also a little speechless for a while. It wasn't until Shinchan put the vegetable leaves on the counter that Huff got up and came over to see the goods. Seeing Huff's behavior, Shinchan knew about the spaceship. Huff and the others finally found out that they lost money. But Shinchan didn't take the initiative to bring up this matter. Everyone else has lost money. If you keep asking how much money you lost and what mood you are in, you might get beaten up like this. But Shinchan didn't ask, but Huff took the initiative to say it. As soon as their auction ended yesterday, they found a place to dismantle the spaceship. When they opened it, they found something was wrong, but they bought everything and naturally they had to take it all apart. In the end, they collected more than 470 parts that could be recycled. The others are either broken, have no recycling value, or simply disappeared. Later, they asked the people inside the ship repair yard to find out that the spaceship had been in the ship repair yard for a long time. At that time, the owner of the ship wanted to repair it, but the cost of repairing the spaceship was too high, so he never made up his mind to repair it. Later, because it was left for too long and the cost of berthing was too high, the owner simply abandoned the ship. The people in the ship repair yard saw that this ship was unclaimed, and sometimes repairing other spaceships lacked parts, so they dismantled some from this spaceship. Over time, this small spaceship became what it is now. Of course, the shell of this spaceship has never been touched, so it still looks like a whole ship. Forehead. Shinchan also had nothing to say. He had advised Huff not to be impulsive. But he didn't listen. This time, more than 200,000 yuan went in. Fortunately, Huff didn't pay the money alone, and 3 other people helped to pay it together. After Huff estimated the price of the goods brought by Shinchan, Shinchan found that this time the spaceship accessories, Huff gave a very low price. Why? Forget it, Huff just lost a lot of money. Stardust didn't bother with him anymore. After collecting the money, Shinchan was about to leave when Huff asked him to see if there was any need for the accessories on the small spaceship. Shinchan thought about it. These useful accessories can be bought. So I took a look, but waited for Huff to make an offer. Shinchan shook his head, turned around and left. This Huff, who lost money on breaking the ship, wants to earn back the lost money from himself. The accessories I took out are exactly what I need, but the price is 30 to 40% higher than before. You can't let yourself be taken advantage of. Seeing that Shinchan didn't want the goods, Huff had no choice but to take them back. The cost is high when you buy the goods, so naturally you have to pay a higher price when you sell them, and you can pay less if you can pay less. If you can't sell it, you can only think of a way. After the auction, Stardust's life returned to normal, returning home to pick up food every 8 days. But this time the red tomato fruit is already ripe. Stardust leaves 1 solanum on each solanum plant as a seed, and the other solanums are packed in boxes, ready to be brought back to school for sale. Of course, there are some red eggplants, and Shinchan himself wants to eat them too. These red eggplant fruit Stardust are not going to be sold in Huff's black shop. Because green vegetables have been sold to Huff all the time, if calculated in this way, Stardust will sell more than 10,000 to 20,000 rials a month. If this is added with a kind of red eggplant fruit, I am afraid that Huff will come up with other ideas. After all, this guy only lost a lot of lard. Inevitably think of something else. So Stardust is going to sell the red eggplant fruit to Gilead this time. As the owner of the black shop, Gillen should also accept this thing. After picking up the tomatoes and vegetables, Shinchan went back to school in the commuter car. This time I was lucky, and I caught up with the land occupation again, and the shipment rate of waste products from the transport ship was also good. With the help of Rhubarb, Stardust collected more than 110 accessories, and exchanged unsuitable accessories with other people for some suitable ones. So this time, Stardust got a total of 32 suitable accessories, and there were also about 60 pieces that were not suitable. More than 170 kilograms of pure metal were picked up. But now there is a problem. Scavengers don't like trading parts for parts anymore. Now the accessories used in small spaceships are relatively easy to sell outside, but the accessories used in larger spaceships are not so easy to sell, and the price is also lower. Shinchan felt that this situation seemed to have something to do with him. Recently, Stardust has sold a lot of accessories that are not suitable for him outside, and the accessories of the small spaceship are pending orders. This caused the selling price of small spaceship accessories to be high and easy to sell, and there was a situation where there were too many accessories for larger spaceships, and it was not easy to sell them. Shinchan did not expect such a situation to happen. If I want to get accessories from other scavengers in the future, I'm afraid it will not be so easy. If you buy it directly with money, you can buy it. But Shinchan managed to earn this money, thinking about going to the accessory store to buy those hard-to-find accessories in the future. If you spend the money now, the purchase of accessories will be delayed for a long time in the future. In desperation, Shinchan decided to use green vegetable leaves to exchange for accessories in the future. But this green vegetable leaf is not the kind that is going to be sold. During the growth process of green vegetables, some leaves that grow early can be cut off, so that it will not affect the subsequent growth and market date. It's just that these vegetable leaves have grown for too long, and some of them are old, so the taste is not very good. Stardust used to chop and compost these old leaves when selling vegetable leaves. Now the scavengers don't want big spaceship parts to exchange for small spaceship parts, so it should be possible to exchange these vegetable leaves. Probably these scavengers don't mind that the leaves are a bit old, and the taste is almost like this. The green vegetables have been planted until now, and the first harvested seeds have all been planted. Fortunately, the first time I used seeds to grow vegetables, I planted 10 green vegetables as seeds. At this time, these green vegetables have been planted. After the seeds are processed, the next batch can use these seeds to grow vegetables. The yield of this batch of seeds was good. 10 green vegetables produced more than 1,400 seeds in total. Except for more than 100 seeds, which are not very good, the others are usable seeds. With enough seeds, Stardust is going to increase the number of green vegetables each time, with a batch of 8 days, and each batch of green vegetables will grow 70 trees. But in this way, those boxes for growing vegetables are not enough. Before Shinchan went back to school, he had already arranged for Walla to process a bigger vegetable growing box. Next time Shinchan returns home, he will have to buy sand and gravel again. The more vegetables you grow, the more water you use. Now every time I go home, Stardust has to bring back more than 80 servings of water. Now Shinchan no longer dares to buy water in one place, he often buys a few here and a few over there. It took 7 or 8 days to make up this amount. For the water for these vegetables, Shinchan worked hard. But thinking about the lol sold after the harvest, Stardust still thinks it's worth it. At noon, Shinchan brought the green vegetables to Huff's shop again to sell them. This time, as usual, dozens of pieces of vegetables, plus 7 or 8 spaceship accessories. Huff estimated the price, and then cleared the money and goods. Stardust went out this time and didn't go back to school directly. Instead, he turned a few roads and flew towards Gillen's black shop. During the flight, pass a hidden location around the corner of a building. Stardust took out a box of red eggplant fruit and 7 or 8 spaceship accessories from Rhubarb Space. Stardust put these things in the bag, and then flew to Gillen's black shop. At the black shop, Gillinder sat behind the counter as usual. Seeing Zingdust enter the door, Gilland nodded his head as a greeting. Stardust put the bag on the counter, then smiled and said to Gillinder, "There are a few things you can look at and estimate the price of." Gilland walked to the counter and saw Shinchan took out some accessories, and said reluctantly, "These accessories are not very popular now. I can't give you a good price." Stardust nodded to show that he knew. Then he took out the box containing red eggplant fruit from his bag, opened it, and handed it to Gillinder. Gilland didn't pay much attention to it at first, but when he saw the red eggplant fruit in the box, his eyes lit up immediately. He took out the red tomato fruit in the box and took a closer look. "I quoted a price of 5,000 rows for a box." It's not that Gilland paid a high price. Stardust's box of red eggplants is one more than what was auctioned at the auction. The freshness of the fruit is also better, and the color is more attractive. That's why Gilland paid this price. This box of fruit was mainly because it was not included in the auction, otherwise the price would be even higher. But when I went to the auction, I saw that the price was high, but the people at the auction would also have to take a lot of money. When the money came to me, it might not be as high as the price. Stardust is also someone who has gone through an auction, so he knows the auction price of the red tomato fruit last time. So after hearing the price quoted by Gillander, I agreed. In addition, Gilland also quoted a good price for those spaceship accessories. This time Stardust got a total of 6,000 RAL. Stardust still has 3 boxes of red tomato fruits of the same quality, but he doesn't want to take out all of them at once. This thing is rare outside. If Shinchan took out too much at once, it would be bad for people to envy him. After the transaction was completed, Gilland also asked Stardust if he could bring some more. Shinchan still said the same thing, that is to say, the owner of the goods needs to coordinate. It should be taken out a few times, but this thing depends on luck. If others don't ship it in a few days, it will be out of stock. If the goods are available again, we have to wait for when they will be shipped again. Gilland nodded after hearing this. Said that this thing can be brought over and sold at any time. Shinchan nodded to show that he understood, then turned and went back to school. Next, Shinchan went to Huff's shop to sell vegetables every day as usual, but every other day, when Shinchan sold out the green vegetables, he would go to Gilland to sell red tomato fruits. When these red eggplants were sold out, Shinchan had an extra $30,000 in hand. Including the money he earned earlier, Zingdust has already saved almost 100,000 lars. Although 100,000 RALs is a lot, it is still far from enough to buy all the accessories for a small spaceship. When Shinchan asked for leave again to return home, the number of vegetables in the vegetable growing box had increased. The new planting box is covered with gravel brought back, and it is ready for use. This time, Shinchan prepared half of the space in the new box to grow vegetables, and the other half to grow tomato fruits. However, red eggplants are only planted in 3 waves, with an interval of about 15 days between each wave. Planted in this way, 10 red eggplants can be harvested each time, and more than 100 red eggplants can be produced. About 60,000 lal can be sold in 1 wave. It is a big income. After arranging the planting of vegetables, Shinchan asked Walla to fetch some green vegetable leaves, which are for exchanging accessories with the scavengers the next day. On the second day, Shinchan took the younger brothers to the storage area. It was still the same, this time there was no new transport ship. However, Shinchan took the vegetable leaves to find a few acquaintances, and discussed the matter of exchanging the vegetable leaves for accessories. Stardust somewhat underestimated the attractiveness of vegetable leaves to scavengers. When those people saw the vegetable leaves that Shinchan took out, they immediately agreed to exchange them. The people next to them saw such an exchange method, and they also came over and wanted to exchange. They are also suffering from the same food every day, and they can't see any meat or vegetables. This time, although it is necessary to use accessories to exchange vegetable leaves, there is a chance to change the taste after all, so people who come to exchange are more enthusiastic. At the scene, Shinchan exchanged more than 20 suitable spaceship accessories, but this is not the end. When those people asked Zingdust to bring some vegetable leaves next time, they all spit out that next time they would bring the accessories you have at home to exchange. After hearing this, Shinchan agreed. There are quite a lot of vegetables. If these people have enough accessories, Huff's supply will be reduced. Shinchan made an appointment with these people to exchange, and then went to the previous storage area to pick up leeks. In this busy day, apart from the exchanged accessories, Shinchan got more than a dozen more suitable accessories. There are also some other gains. Next is the day to bring vegetables to school for training sessions. As before, Shinchan usually goes to class for training, and at noon, he brings some accessories and vegetable leaves to sell for money. Now Shinchan's life is relatively regular, and his strength has been improving. It is estimated that it will break through the 8th order soon. Huff sells vegetables and leaves, and earns 30,000 to 40,000 yuan a month. From this point of view, It is possible to buy a spaceship even if you save money. Of course, it may take many years. When they went home again, those scavengers took out more than 170 accessories that are suitable for the small spaceship. The scavengers that Xingchen is more familiar with here don't bring out much, and those who are not familiar with it bring out a lot. Stardust hadn't exchanged accessories with them before, but this time he exchanged all their common accessories. Of course, there are more accessories, and more vegetable leaves are needed. Xingchen didn't bring so many vegetable leaves this time, but fortunately, the people here can keep accounts. Xingchen wrote down how many vegetable leaves he owed someone one by one, so that he could make up for it later. The current exchange ratio is about 2 leaves for 1 accessory. Some accessories are more valuable and need more leaves. But Stardust doesn't care about this. After all, in his place, vegetable leaves will be continuously grown, and those accessories are not so easy to get. After the exchange was over, someone told Xingchen that the boss of the scavengers in another district also wanted to exchange some vegetables with Xingchen. However, the other party wants to exchange more vegetable leaves. Let's see if Xingchen can accept the exchange. Xingchen said in his heart, I am not afraid that you want to exchange, as long as it is the accessory I want, I am willing to accept as many as I want. But to be on the safe side, Xingchen still asked about the other party's situation. It turned out that the boss of the other party heard that Xingchen could exchange accessories for vegetables, and wanted to exchange Xingchen for a bigger one. The other party heard about Xingchen wanting accessories for the small spaceship. He also thought about building a small spaceship for smuggling, but because many accessories were too difficult to obtain, he gave up in the end. However, the power engine of a small spaceship built by everyone at that time is still preserved. This time the other party just wants to use this engine to exchange more green leaves. Stardust was overjoyed when he heard that. The other accessories of this small spaceship are easy to talk about, but the power engine is a bit difficult to get. This time, someone will come to the door to exchange it. Naturally, it couldn't be better, but this matter also has to guard against the other party's tricks. It can only be exchanged to see the situation. Xingchen agreed to the exchange through a middleman, but the specific exchange conditions can only be discussed when he sees the goods. So Xingchen and the other party made an appointment to meet and talk in detail when they come back next time. The following days are as usual. However, when Stardust asked Walla to grow vegetables, he planted 10 more in each wave. This is to have enough leaves for future exchanges. In case there are too many exchanges here, the supply available from Huff will be reduced. When the day of the exchange came, Xingchen took his little brother with him, and carefully checked the weapons he carried with him. Although the exchange negotiation this time is in our own area, we still need to be careful. On the day of the exchange negotiation, the other party's boss didn't come over, only a second in command and a younger brother came. Of course, whether it is the second child or not, Xingchen is not sure. But for this matter, it doesn't matter who comes, what matters is the conditions of the negotiation. The other party brought a suspension car, with 2 people and 3 escort robots sitting in the car, and a power engine in the middle. This engine is about the size of a van, and it is full of various pipelines. It looks a bit old, but what Stardust cares about is whether it can still be used. So Stardust asked Rhubarb to investigate first. Now the Rhubarb's energy is fully replenished, so it doesn't save energy so much when probing. After such an investigation, Xingchen found that most of the parts of this power engine are still quite good, about 60% to 70% new, and they can still be used for a long time. However, there are still some problems with dozens of parts inside the power engine. These small parts are too worn, and they may go on strike at any time. You must know that this is the engine of the spacecraft. When the spacecraft is flying in space, if any of these components are removed, the spacecraft will stop if it is light, or it may explode directly if it is heavy. Why? It seems that the hearts of these people are a bit dark. Let's take the unqualified parts and put them together. I really want to hurt people. The second child who came to negotiate met Xingchen, the real master, and immediately offered 5,000 vegetable leaves to exchange for this engine. I go. Is this trying to steal? Xingchen Xian said, the power engine of this small spaceship costs about 400,000 to 500,000 yuan for a brand new one. You want to sell more than 200,000 yuan for a second-hand one like this? If all the parts of your engine can be used normally, then Stardust may agree to this condition. But there are so many parts in this engine that are scrap, this is to fool people. Before Xingchen could reply, the bald uncle next to him said, are you trying to grab it? It's just such an old engine, and you want to sell it for the price of a new engine? Do you think we don't know the price? Or are you bullying us? Of course, the other second child wanted to pay the price he offered for all kinds of reasons. But Xingchen doesn't want to be taken advantage of by this guy. After getting such an engine, you have to spend a lot of money to replace those bad parts. This replacement may cost 70,000 to 80,000 lails. An engine like this is sold directly outside, which is about 100,000. After deducting the cost of replacing parts, the engine is worth about 80 to 90,000. Now that the other party directly offered more than 200,000 yuan, it was intentional to blackmail him. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.